everybody, Armand here from Chi Skills, and today we have a podcast about detoxing. And Didi,
Yes.
why is it important that we're detoxing now, in this season, in spring?
In spring, yeah, because this is the time. Normally, you could look at springtime as the new year. There is a new energy.
Yeah.
You just came out of winter time where there is more energy that's going inward, more contracting energy. And now we're in springtime and you see there is some more outward energy.
Yeah. Everything, there's blossom, everything's becoming green. It was snowing a couple of minutes ago. That's another story. But, nature, absolutely. There's a change in energy and, so we can help this energy in ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if we look at what kind of element this is at the moment, it's the wood element. And the wood element represents the liver.
Aha.
So, and if we're talking about detoxing, we talk about detoxing the liver.
Aha. Okay, so we have spring, we have the liver, and then we have detoxing the liver. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like a spring cleaning. It's the same as when you're in your house or anywhere that you want to start afresh.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a tradition, right? It's cleaning the house in spring, and so we're cleaning our own house now, right?
Yeah.
Our inner house.
Yeah. Our body, and that will have an impact in how we can start the new season, start our new year, start with new projects, start with new initiatives.
Executing your plans, because if we look we talk a little bit more about the liver. We talked about it in the last podcast as well, but I think in the context of this one, it's important that we talk about,
the function.
The function, right? Of course, it has a cleaning function of the blood.
Yeah. That's one of the most important ones.
Yeah.
So when we eat, when we digest, it comes through all the food comes through our digestion, and part of what we eat will turn into blood. Oh, is that true?
What?
Yeah.
Really?
That's how our body is nurtured, how
sure.
it's fed. So part of what we digest will come into your bloodstream, but not all the toxic stuff that we eat will be taken out of your system.
There will remain some behind, you could say, right?
Yeah. And that will come into our bloodstream. And then we absolutely very grateful for our liver, because the liver is the organ that will clean the blood.
The liver delivers.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. A cleaning machine. It's just...
absolutely. Yeah. So if we're talking about detoxing, we want to help the liver to do its job,
Absolutely.
to clean. And especially in winter time, we don't move as much. We eat a bit heavier stuff. And so the liver will be a little bit more cluttered.
Yeah.
And so we want to help it clean and to be more in its function. So it's like the hoovering machine. You want to take out all the garbage and clean it so it will function better.
Yeah, and of course you will feel better, because there's another level on the liver that's more about,
and it can expand more.
Expand and become creative.
Absolutely.
And
so cleaning the blood is one, and the other function, or one of the functions of the liver, because there's so many, but is a good flow of chi through the body.
Yes.
And the third, which is so important, creativity.
Yeah.
So these are a couple. I don't go through all of them, but these are the ones that we want to focus on in springtime. Be creative. Be aware that the liver is of a good flow of chi through your body. So it won't It doesn't like stagnation.
It needs space. That's
It needs
very
space.
important, right?
Yeah.
On all levels, it needs space, and if it will feel good if there's space. If there's not space, it will react with frustration and anger.
Everything will contract.
Contract, right?
And you
right.
want to be open and outward energy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So can we look at some of the detox methods that?
So we'll first go through what can you do with your food, as I'm all about food.
Really?
So how do you clean your body and especially your liver? And this is a great time for fasting. And
Long silence.
long silence.
Beautiful. Yeah.
What do you think about when you think about fasting?
Well, mostly you think about we're not eating.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not really true. That
No.
doesn't. It can be, but there's different ways.
Yeah. And so this is a very old tradition. You see it in every religion. You see it in so many cultures that they fast. And absolutely, there's one. I think there are 5 ways to do it, or how you can look at it. So the first one, not eating, is the last one.
Okay, that's
so that's
okay.
number 5.
Yeah.
That's the most.
Well, it's the more extreme one.
Most
right?
extreme one, yeah. But the first one is to take out all the things that are not really
that
good
you
for
really
you.
know that are not really good for you.
Sugar,
Yeah,
coffee, hot spices, everything that a lot of people are like, oh,
What?
but these are the things that I crave for. Well, take that out. That will help you a lot. And do that for 2 weeks. So eat more clean, eat more just your meals, and take out all the candy and all the things you eat
and
between.
alcohol and caffeine and all these things that we do know that are not really helpful for us. So
snacks at nighttime, crisps, and leave those out. Yeah. And that will, just to eat your meals and not do anything else, that will, if you do that for 2 weeks, major difference.
But there's a warning there, because in the beginning, when you start something, you might not really feel better. I mean, really physically, right? But also like emotionally, it's like, whoa, it can be pretty tough.
Because there will be more space. And what will happen is that we have all this toxic stuff. I call it toxic, which it won't kill you, but we have stuff stored in our body where your body is like, okay, I don't know what to do with it. I store it somewhere, and I store it at places. Well, a lot of women know where they store their kind of things where they don't want to have it stored.
Well, guys too, I guess.
Yeah. And this is starting to loosen. And so what will happen, it will come into your bloodstream, you're detoxing, and that's what you feel. It's that you're cleaning
house. Yeah.
Cleaning house. And what will happen, you will get a headache. You
Headaches,
will get your stool might not be that nice in those days, in the first couple of days, but that will change. So do this for 2 weeks and you will see that it all improves. And what it will leave you with more space, more room in every aspect. So you feel lighter.
Is 2 weeks like,
that's
is that a max, or is that also like a minimum? Yeah.
Oh, you can do this for the rest of your life if you want to.
Yeah, that's true, because that's another thing, is that if you're still listening, you're pretty serious about this. So I think we did some things in this alley, like that we never went back again, right? Like testing it out, out. Okay, we're not going to do this for 2 weeks. We're not going to do, and then that became like forever afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Our permanent thing, because it was like
how can we go back?
How can you go back? Because you feel so good, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Absolutely.
a warning, people. As a warning is that you might not go back again. So
No, and changing your food is difficult. I mean,
Super difficult.
it's so ingrained in everything we do. We eat every day, or most people do, and so changing it takes effort. It takes a lot of time, or maybe not time, but it's a shift. It's a mind shift as well as just buying other ingredients.
there's all these levels. Yeah,
All these
yeah,
levels. And you want to change, and then you have a party, and the people in the party say,
I don't want to change.
I don't want to change, and you should join, because otherwise I
Yeah.
feel guilty that you're not
Here,
eating
have
the cake.
have this cake, beer, and T-bone steak afterwards, or something like that. Yeah.
So it takes a lot of you. But if you want to change, this is a great time to start.
Absolutely.
Because you have the energy with you. This is the time for new beginnings. So if you want to try it out, start now.
Start now.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so that's awesome. This is so impurities.
Yeah.
Leave those out.
Leave
Minimum
those
2
out.
weeks.
that's point number one. So
Bang.
2
Yeah.
is that that you can eat for 2 weeks or longer, but just eat soups.
Soup diet.
Soup diet, or khichdi, like that's rice with lentils and vegetables. And
Yeah, so it's not per se like like this watery soup. That,
no.
But it's more like a it's stew is the wrong word, I guess. But it's like your spoon will stay upward when you put it in, right? It's full of good stuff.
Good stuff, and it's light for the body. It's easy to digest. Soups are easy to digest. They're
Why is
warm,
that important?
watery.
What's the benefit of easy digestion? I mean, a lot of people understand maybe it's like, oh, your stool becomes better, things like that. But what's the main thing?
Energy. Yeah,
There
energy.
you go.
So it's for your body when it's warm.
Mm-hmm.
If it's pre-digested, so if it's cooked, it's easier for your system to digest and get all the goodies out of it.
Yeah.
And also it will leave you with more energy to spend on other things.
Like your plans and your dreams. and your
Creativity,
creativity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing is we started that a long time ago, already, but we never quit, right? I mean, of course we've eaten. I mean, more like we started eating fresh prepared meals, like we started eating warm
Meals,
right?
Most days.
Yeah, some exceptions, but mostly we eat warm meals. Because we find so much benefit in that, is that you come into a more permanent way of cleansing, lighter eating, and more energy. And that's probably why we're sitting doing this podcast right now, right? Because of that. So
and if you look at a lot of countries, from tradition, that is how we ate. So it's it's the way to go.
Yeah.
To eat warm, that will help us digest easier. So, but not just eat warm meals, but light warm meals for a period of 2 weeks, and that will clean and help.
And your system will literally warm up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the wintertime, we eat heavier. We need more energy for the cold weather.
Yeah.
And now in springtime, hopefully it will get a little bit warmer.
If it stops snowing.
We don't need that heavy food. And so we can eat a little bit lighter, and your body will have more space. And your liver will love it.
Great stuff.
So that's number 2.
Yeah.
Going to number 3 is to eat in a different time frame.
Yeah.
So normally we would eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and maybe a snack for a lot of people.
Yeah, like 8 o'clock in the morning, like 12, like noon, and then
we have
then like 6 or 7 at night, and then maybe a little snack or something. Yeah.
And so we have a time frame of about 12 hours
Yeah.
in which we eat. and then we have a 12 hours of what kind of fasting we don't eat. And then we start again with breakfast. But if you can shift to like a 6-hour frame or even shorter, that will give you a lot more time to not be working on your digestion.
Yeah, so if you're really detoxing, you might consider like, not eating after.
Yeah, and this is what we did. So what we did because a client of mine was talking about intermediate fasting. That's more that you start your day with lunch and then eat from lunch up till 8 o'clock and then don't eat in the hours in between. For me, that didn't sound like following the energy of the day. So I said, that's a good idea. I'm going to try it. And I know from experience in Thailand with the monks, they just eat in the morning, in between the breakfast and lunch, and then they don't eat all day long. Yeah. So that's what we did. We followed the tradition.
It's like sort of you just eat breakfast and you eat lunch and then nothing.
We did that for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Huge effect. I mean, we already eat quite clean.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
But when we put it in this little time frame, at first I had a headache and I felt like my body was kind of struggling.
Yeah, especially at night. You feel your stomach. I mean, you can imagine this, right? Like your stomach's like, whoa. Normally, for 47 years, you were used to getting dinner, right? Yeah. So, and now, but we were pretty deliberate in this. So we sort of, it's like, okay, you just observe it, right? You don't touch it. It's like, okay, there's this craving maybe, or this feeling. And it's like, and it's like 2 days and then that's gone. And I mean, the deepness of my sleep was incredible.
Absolutely.
Because there's no, I mean, if let's say it took, before you go to sleep, there's like 10 hours in between your last meal and then when you go to sleep. So there's 10 hours for your body, for your system to digest what's, eaten at lunch. So that when you go to sleep, your body is not busy anymore with the food. It's just preparing for sleep. And that's just awesome. And the energy, the lightness around the system is incredible. Yeah. Incredible. So, so what we also decided on that is like, okay, we want to maintain that sort of, but,
not as strict.
Not as strict.
It's quite hard to...
keep living on that amount of food, but...
And to put another meal in those 4 hours was quite hard. So we said, okay, we love the results, but we're gonna make the time frame a little bit bigger.
8 hours roughly.
8 hours and then 3 meals in those 8 hours. So
the last what we would eat is like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
And I hope that when you're listening, it's all about experience. Yeah. It's all about trying and see if it works for you. And because that is it. I cannot tell you what's good for you. It's just a matter of
trying out
and see how it feels. And try it for 2 weeks, because then you have this experience. And otherwise, if you try it for 2 or 3 days, you just get a shitty experience.
Yeah, Sorry, totally. Yeah.
Excuse my words, but
it's what it is. So
because you only get your body struggling. So
So, but this is, and now we're in this 8-hour time frame, and it's perfect. And one benefit from that as well is that it leaves you with more time.
Oh yeah,
it's funny, we were so in routine. It's like we have a dog also, and then teaching, and then working on this and everything. It's like ka-dang, ka-dang, ka-dang. It's like this machine is going, right. And now you leave out one of these meals in that period of the day, and you're like, what?
Space.
So much time.
Yeah. So it really is a cleansing.
It's a cleansing on different levels because you relax more in the evening.
Deeper sleep.
Deeper sleep.
Deeper sleep always the most yin energy, which is like a foundational energy, a quiet energy, it's built while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
So the deeper you sleep is, the more yin energy, which is great because that will give you more activity.
And it's one of the harder ones to, build. Obtain and build, So this helps that. So it's perfect.
So that was number 3.
Yeah.
That's a long time about number 3. So, but these 3 are the 3 that you can experience with and are quite easy to experience with. Because number 4 is what you hear a lot of people do is like a 10-day water detox or
just
fasting.
Just drink water,
No eating, or like juices.
Juices, yeah. There's a risk with that.
And that's a risk, especially when your digestion is not that strong. For me, that would be killing because now I'm comfortable, like warm. I'm always comfortable warm, but I used to be really, really cold because I would be eating too much cold stuff.
Yeah.
And this would... my digestion, why am I always talking about food? Because this was one of my problems, was that my digestion was not that good. And I've been looking everywhere for this to get stronger.
Sure, yeah.
So for me, this doesn't sound very right to do for me. But as with all these things, it's something you can try out. But one thing, if you want to do this, look for help. Look for someone who can guide you through and see what things you need to have set out.
Yeah, because just drinking juices is, especially here in Northwest Europe, and in the Northern Hemisphere, that can be very rough on your system.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in Thailand or something, in the tropics, it's easier because, your system won't have that much trouble with the cooling effect, right? Yeah. Because, tropical juices, things like that. But you have to really be aware of that. And I think, some guidance in that is very important.
You see, in Germany or in Austria, they have what they call the copa culture. And you go into a spa, and then there is a doctor that guides you through it. Perfect.
Yeah.
He can really look into how you're doing and stuff. So,
and it goes for 0.5, I think, as well, which is not eating.
Yeah, and that's a great way. And it's very natural way of detoxing, because when you have a fever, that's what you do. Yeah. You don't eat, you don't drink. Your body is just surviving. It's just putting all its energy in curing you. And it doesn't want anything new into the system. So it's a very natural way of detoxing.
Yeah, and there's other effects as well. That's why I've met some people who were in like a phase of like eating, like not eating for a week or not eating for a couple of weeks even, and they were all looking for more spiritual,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed, I've never done that. I have no experience with it, but I've watched someone closely, and he was just glowing. Yeah, it was incredible. It was in Thailand during one of the trainings with Sifu Mark Rasmus. And it was just amazing to watch. But I had the same experience with, when we left out the dinner, just skipped a meal. And there was also this shift. Yeah. It's like there was a lightness, and there's this expansion of the mind, and there's almost, I wouldn't say it's not a stoned feeling, that's the way to, but there's absolute this expansion of the mind coming. Yeah. And that's just a lovely feeling, and so I think that it's not only a detox of, the liver, the system, but it also the spiritual aspects that come from
absolutely
from that, right?
And that's why a lot of religions have fasting periods.
Absolutely.
Well,
But the spirit is closely related to the liver, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to say it sleeps in the liver at night, and
Yeah.
in the Chinese traditional
Chinese
Chinese medicine, and it looks out of the eyes during the day, right? It's awake. It's
Yeah.
you know it's so this relation is very interesting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And and that was amazing to watch, and it was inspiring as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if all the for a lot of people, a lot of energy goes into your digestion.
Oh yeah.
So much energy goes into your digestion, and so.
Well, from a Qigong point of
giving
view,
some space
Yeah.
and cleaning it, that's a major thing.
it's a major thing.
And that's why do these monks in Thailand eat just in the morning? Why don't they eat meat? All these things is to create space.
Yeah.
To create space, to be mindful, to work on your higher self.
Absolutely, and that's all about mental expansion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that. I think a lot of the diet that we normally see in the West is something, and it has this short-term,
Yeah.
little effect on expanding the mind or feeling good for a moment. But just leaving out this stuff is eventually gonna give it a so much bigger effect on what you really want, and gives a more lasting effect. So yeah.
But it all depends, where are you in your journey?
Totally.
And so we mentioned 5 ways of fasting.
Well, can I talk a little bit more about this last point? Is that the person who I saw doing this, he was a Qigong monster. He was training like 6 hours a day or something. His basic, his foundation, huge energy. And then he started doing that, right?
Yeah.
And it had a huge effect. And he also said to me, it's like, I said, how do you feel, right? If you haven't eaten for a week yet, how do you feel? He said, I feel fine.
Yeah.
It's fine, right? But it's built on a strong foundation. So for this last one, find someone who can, has done it.
And start with the other 4.
Start there first.
Start with 1, and then
build your foundation,
and build your
Qi foundation,
yeah.
and then these things. And like we've said, a couple of these things, we never went back, right?
No.
I mean, because the experience was so great.
You're going on a ladder, and you just feel like, oh, this is better for me, and I want to feel like this all year long. So it doesn't stop with these 2 weeks, but a 2-week time frame does give you the experience to see if that works for you, or
and you have
if
the
it
choice
doesn't.
to do it. Oh, that's awesome. Well said.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
beautiful. Gee, you rock. I love it. I love that how you said that.
So I think that is it for this podcast, and I hope you have
learned something, and maybe inspired to try some of this stuff, and we love to hear from you, by the way, right? I mean, we've had great comments on our YouTube channel, and we're so glad that you subscribe and everything, and it's just amazing. So share your information with us and your experience.
Absolutely.
We love to hear from you. So
that's it.
That's
it. And hopefully see or hear you in the next podcast.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Bye, people. Bye. Thanks for watching.